All right, Bears fans, buckle up because this season opener is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing matchups we've seen in a while. Chicago versus Minnesota. Caleb Williams versus J.J. McCarthy. A brand new coaching staff, a revamped roster, and a fan base that's been starving for a true turnaround. And you can feel the buzz. There's something different in the air this year. A quiet confidence, a cautious optimism. And it all kicks off under the lights on Monday Night Football. Now, let's be real here. Coming off a 5-12 season, expectations weren't exactly sky-high for the Bears a few months ago. But that was before Ben Johnson walked through the door. That was before the front office went to work like a team that's tired of losing. The coaching overhaul was massive. Out goes Matt Eberflus. In comes Ben Johnson, the offensive mastermind from Detroit, now in the driver's seat in Chicago. Declan Doyle steps in as the offensive coordinator, but make no mistake, Johnson is calling the plays. And on defense, Dennis Allen brings experience and attitude, ready to inject some discipline and creativity into a group that, frankly, didn't scare anyone last year. But let's talk about the real centerpiece here, Caleb Williams. The kid stepping into his second year as the franchise quarterback, and this time, he's got weapons. He's got protection. He's got a system tailored for him. Last season had its ups and downs. No surprise for a rookie thrust into a struggling team. But he took care of the ball, showed flashes of brilliance, and more importantly, didn't fold. That matters. That shows maturity. And now, the Bears are betting big that year 2 is where the magic happens. Offensively, this team was ranked 28th in scoring last year, putting up just over 18 points per game. Not exactly lighting it up. But when you look at the pieces they've added, there's no doubt that number should jump. Chicago rebuilt the interior of their offensive line with some serious talent. Joe Thuney, Jonah Jackson, and Drew Dalman form a trio that brings toughness, athleticism, and experience. That kind of upgrade changes the entire dynamic up front. Suddenly, you got a pocket that holds. You've got running lanes. You've got time for Caleb to cook. And speaking of weapons, they went shopping. Carlson Loveland was a key draft pick. Luther Burden, another exciting young target. And then there's Olamide Zakos, who's been turning heads all offseason. Reports out of camp say he's been nearly unguardable. That's the kind of player who can quietly become a difference maker. But don't sleep on the defensive line either. Grady Jarrett joins the front, bringing a veteran presence and a whole lot of power. Dio Odiingbo is in the mix too. They paid him to produce, and now he's got to prove it. This front isn't elite yet, but it's got the potential to cause some chaos, especially if Montez Sweat can bounce back and live up to his contract. Now, across the field, we've got the Minnesota Vikings, a team that went 14-3 last year, but who flamed out when it mattered most. Their coaching staff remains intact. Kevin O'Connell is still calling plays. Wes Phillips runs the offense, and Brian Flores, the mastermind of that aggressive defense, is back dialing up the blitzes. But the quarterback? That's where things get interesting. Out goes Sam Darnold. Yes, the same Sam Darnold who somehow had the best year of his career in Minnesota. He signed with Seattle. And in comes the rookie, J.J. McCarthy. He's talented, no doubt. But he hasn't taken a single NFL snap yet. And in a divisional matchup, under the spotlight, with a rebuilt Bears team staring him down, that's a tough way to debut. Now last season, Minnesota was 9th in points scored, averaging just over 25 per game, and they had the 5th best scoring defense, holding opponents to under 20. They were efficient, disciplined, and opportunistic, finishing top 5 in turnover margin. That's a formula for success, but replicating it with a rookie quarterback? That's a whole different story. Roster-wise, they've been busy too. Jordan Mason was brought in via trade to pair with Aaron Jones in the backfield. That duo could be dangerous, especially behind a retooled offensive line. They just pulled off a deal to bring back Adam Thielen. A huge move, especially with Jordan Addison suspended to start the year. Addison's absence is massive. He's one of the best number 2 wide receivers in the league, and without him, the Vikings' receiving core just doesn't have the same bite. On the offensive line, both teams have invested heavily. Chicago's strength is in the interior, while Minnesota boasts 2 of the more established tackles in football. Christian Darrisaw is an absolute stud. Brian O'Neill is still solid, though he's aging. Darnell Wright is on the rise for the Bears, but Braxton Jones at left tackle remains a big question mark. That battle in the trenches could define this game. Now, if we zoom out and look at the full rosters, both teams have talent. Both teams have made big moves, but they've gone in very different directions. The Vikings doubled down on a winning core, hoping McCarthy can simply keep the train on the tracks. The Bears hit the reset button, put their faith in Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, and built around them. One team is maintaining. The other is transforming. Let's talk matchups. Head coach, advantage Minnesota. Kevin O'Connell is one of the brightest young minds in the game. Say what you want about playoff success, or lack thereof, but the man has led his team to double-digit wins consistently. He knows how to prepare. He knows how to scheme. And until Ben Johnson proves otherwise, the edge has to go to the more experienced sideline. Quarterback, though, that's Chicago. Caleb Williams has already faced the fire. He's been hit. He's been pressured. He's thrown touchdowns and picked himself up after mistakes. That experience matters. J.J. McCarthy might have a high ceiling, but right now, he's a complete unknown at this level. Give me the guy who's already taken the snaps under pressure and lived to talk about it. At the skill positions, things get even more interesting. If Jordan Addison were playing, this would be a tighter debate. But with him suspended, the Bears have the edge. DJ Moore, Romo Duns, Olamide Zakos, Luther Burden. That's 4 legitimate threats. Add in 2 capable tight ends in Cole Cam E.T. and Carlson Loveland, and you've got 7 offensive weapons who can hurt you in different ways. Minnesota still has Justin Jefferson, arguably the best receiver in football, and a solid group around him, including Thielen and T.J. Hawkinson. But the depth, the versatility, right now, that favors the Bears. Defensively, though, this is where the Vikings flex their muscle. Their defensive line is scary. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave, Dallas Turner. They've got size. They've got speed. And they've got depth, 6 or 7 guys who can rotate in and keep the pressure coming all night long. The Bears have some intriguing pieces. Jarrett, Dexter, Billings. There's talent, but not the same wave of impact players that Minnesota can throw at you. And with Flores scheming it all up, you better believe they'll be coming after Caleb with everything they've got. Now, let's get into what might really decide this showdown. Not the stars, not the schemes, but the trenches. The offensive and defensive lines. That's where games like this are won. And if you're looking for a battle within the battle, this is it. Let's start up front with Chicago's offensive line, one of the most quietly upgraded units in the entire league. People might be sleeping on it, but the pieces are there. Joe Thuney brings championship experience. Jonah Jackson is a beast in pass protection, and Drew Dalman has quickly become one of the most underrated centers in the game. These guys don't just block, they move people. They set the tone. And if this group stays healthy, they can keep Caleb clean and open up the kind of running lanes we haven't seen in Chicago in a long time. That being said, the big question mark remains at left tackle. Braxton Jones is entering a make-or-break moment in his career. He's flashed potential, but the inconsistency is hard to ignore. And against a defense like Minnesota's, with Brian Flores calling blitzes from every angle and waves of edge rushers flying at you, that blindside protection has to hold up, because if it doesn't, things can unravel fast. Darnell, right on the right side, has looked solid. He's developing. He's physical. He's not elite yet, but you can see the ceiling. And if he continues on his trajectory, the Bears might have something special on that side. But it's Braxton who could really swing this game, one way or the other. Now, Minnesota's offensive line? It's a mirror image of Chicago's in many ways. Strong tackles. Christian Darrisaw is one of the best in the business. Brian O'Neill, though aging, is still reliable and knows how to anchor against top-tier pass rushers. On the interior, they're hoping that the additions of Donovan Jackson and Ryan Kelly can bring more consistency. Kelly's a veteran, steady, dependable, a leader in the locker room. Jackson, though, he's a bit of a wild card. Tons of talent, big upside, but can he handle pressure? Can he handle guys like Grady Jarrett and Jervin Dexter flying at him from the interior? That's going to be tested early and often. And then there's the defensive line matchup. This is where Minnesota has a real advantage. Let's just call it what it is. This might be the biggest gap between the two rosters. The Vikings' front is flat out scary. Jonathan Allen is a wrecking ball. Hargrave is still one of the best interior disruptors in the league. And then you've got guys like Dallas Turner and Andrew Van Ginkel who can come screaming off the edge with power and speed. And they're not just top-heavy. They've got 6, maybe 7 legitimate contributors who can rotate in and keep the pressure constant. This group wears you down. They don't just play fast, they play angry. And with a rookie head coach and a second-year quarterback trying to find rhythm, that could spell trouble. Now, the Bears' defensive front has improved, no doubt. Grady Jarrett was a huge pickup. He brings not just production, but leadership and toughness. Jervin Dexter is still raw, but he's explosive. Andrew Billings can stop the run with the best of them. But the edge is where things feel shaky. Montez Sweat has to step up. No more flashes, no more moments. It's time to deliver week in, week out. That's what he was paid to do. That's what this defense needs. Dio Odiingbo, the potential is there, but it hasn't translated yet. If he can flip the switch, he could be dangerous. But right now, the Bears need more than potential. They need playmakers, guys who get to the quarterback, guys who change games. Let's shift to the linebackers, where things are a little more balanced. The Bears probably have the more recognizable names. Tremaine Edmunds, T.J. Edwards, both experienced, both capable of taking over games. But again, consistency is the key. Edmunds has all the tools, size, speed, instincts, but he disappears too often. Edwards has been steady, but how will he mesh in this new system under Dennis Allen? That's going to be fascinating to watch. And for Minnesota, the duo of Brian Asamoah and Ivan Pace Jr. might not be household names yet, but they've been producing. They play fast, they play smart, and they're never out of position. In a game like this, that matters. Now, the secondary. This is where it could get complicated for Chicago. Because it all comes down to one name, Jaylon Johnson. If he's healthy, if he's ready to go and not limited, the Bears' secondary looks legit. Johnson is a top-tier corner when he's right. Tariq Stevenson is aggressive and has shown growth. Kyler Gordon can lock down the slot. And Jaquan Brisker? The dude hits like a linebacker and covers like a corner. Add in Kevin Byard on the back end, and that's a solid unit. But if Johnson can't go, or if he's limited, then suddenly you're lining up against Justin Jefferson without your top guy. That's not a position you want to be in, because Jefferson will cook you. Period. He doesn't need much space. He doesn't need the perfect throw. He just needs a sliver of separation, and he'll make you pay. And with Adam Thielen back in the fold, he's got a running mate who knows the system, knows how to get open, and knows how to move the chains. That's a dangerous combo, especially for a young or banged-up secondary. On the flip side, the Vikings' secondary has questions of its own. They've got some new faces, some unproven talent, and their best players in the back end are getting up there in age. Harrison Smith is dealing with some sort of personal health issue. His status is unknown. If he's out, that's a huge hole in the heart of that defense. And while Minnesota has done a solid job drafting and developing young corners, they haven't been tested the way this Bears receiving group is going to test them. Let's not gloss over that, because this might quietly be the most exciting group of pass catchers Chicago has had in a long, long time. DJ Moore is the alpha. He's the guy, the go-to weapon. But Rome Odunze? He's already looking like a future star. Big, smooth, fast, he's going to be a problem. Zach Hose brings shiftiness and sure hands. Luther Burden has the kind of playmaking ability that can flip a game with one touch. And then you've got the tight ends, Cole Kmet T and rookie Carlson Loveland, both of whom can stretch the field, block, and create mismatches. There's no question this group is deeper than Minnesota's, especially with Jordan Addison suspended. And don't sleep on the backfield. DeAndre Swift adds a dynamic element that's been missing. He's not just a runner. He's a weapon in the passing game. Roscoe Johnson and Kyle Manengai bring power and versatility. If this offense clicks, if the line holds up, and if Ben Johnson dials up the right looks, this unit can be dangerous. This is the kind of game that doesn't just show you where a team is, it shows you where they're headed. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The news swirling around the NFL this week has left Chicago buzzing with speculation, excitement, and perhaps a touch of disbelief. Jaden Daniels, the dynamic young quarterback who electrified fans with his collegiate performances, has reportedly signed a 3-year deal with the Chicago Bears. While official confirmation is still pending from team executives, insiders close to the situation claim that the contract has already been finalized behind closed doors, with only a press conference missing to seal the spectacle. The alleged deal positions Daniels not merely as a backup or developmental piece, but as a serious contender for the starting role, challenging the existing depth chart and creating waves in a city long desperate for a franchise quarterback who can ignite Soldier Field on autumn Sundays. The whispers are loud and insistent. Chicago might finally have found its new leader, a player capable of injecting life into an offense that has too often been criticized for lacking flair, identity, and consistency. The timing could not be more dramatic, as the Bears attempt to rebrand and revitalize, leaving behind years of mediocrity in favor of ambition and high-risk, high-reward decision-making that could redefine the franchise's trajectory. The deal itself is rumored to be structured in a way that benefits both the player and the organization, with Daniels securing immediate financial stability while the Bears retain flexibility to build around him. Sources suggest the contract is incentive-heavy, rewarding performance benchmarks such as passing yards, touchdowns, playoff appearances, and even Pro Bowl selections, ensuring Daniels is motivated to elevate not only his own game, but also the overall performance of the team. Chicago's front office, often accused in recent years of playing it too safe, appears to have taken a bold stance, aligning with a fan base hungry for something different, something electric. Whispers in league circles indicate that rival franchises were caught off guard by the swiftness of the Bears' move, as many believe Daniels would still be exploring opportunities, perhaps waiting for a franchise with more stability to make a push. Instead, Chicago swooped in, sealing what could become the defining move of their next decade. Whether this will be remembered as a stroke of genius or a reckless gamble is the very question fueling heated debates among analysts and supporters alike. Beyond the financial terms and contract language, what truly has Chicagoans on edge is the football itself, the tantalizing prospect of Daniels on the field, running a modern offense designed to maximize his unique dual-threat capabilities. His combination of speed, decision-making, and arm talent has long been admired, but skeptics caution that translating college brilliance into NFL consistency is a perilous road, littered with once-celebrated prospects who failed to adjust. Yet optimism reigns in the city's sports bars, with fans imagining Daniels evading defenders, firing strikes downfield, and giving the Bears a highlight reel offense that could finally compete with the high-octane attacks dominating the league. Coaches reportedly see Daniels as the missing puzzle piece for an offensive scheme that has struggled to establish rhythm in recent years. Still, there are lingering questions. Can the offensive line hold up under pressure? Will the wide receivers rise to meet the challenge of supporting a quarterback whose style demands improvisation and chemistry? And perhaps most crucially, will the coaching staff adapt to his strengths rather than force him into an outdated mold? These uncertainties only add to the intrigue, amplifying the sense that Chicago is standing at a true crossroads. The arrival of Daniels also casts a long shadow over the current quarterback situation, where established names might now find their positions threatened. The Bears' locker room dynamic is expected to shift dramatically as players, coaches, and even fans reassess expectations for the upcoming season. Veterans may feel the pressure of a new leader stepping into the huddle, while younger players could see this as a rallying point, a fresh chapter where everyone has a chance to redefine their role. Rumors suggest that even before an official announcement, merchandise vendors have seen a spike in demand for jerseys bearing Daniels' name, underscoring the commercial and cultural impact of this potential signing. Chicago, a city with a tortured football history filled with what-ifs and missed opportunities, suddenly has a reason to believe again. Yet this optimism is tinged with apprehension, for hope is a fragile thing, and the burden placed on Daniels' shoulders will be immense. He will not only be expected to play quarterback, but to carry the collective dreams of a fan base yearning for relevance, respect, and a return to glory in a league that has often overlooked them. For now, the official unveiling remains the missing piece, the moment everyone is waiting for with bated breath, the press conference where cameras flash, jerseys are held up, and sound bites are etched into the archives of sports history. Until then, the speculation grows, feeding a rumor mill that seems unstoppable. Social media is ablaze with commentary, from former players hailing the move as bold to critics dismissing it as premature hype. The truth, as always, will only be revealed on the field, in the crucible of real games where victories and defeats cannot be spun by clever narratives. If Jaden Daniels delivers, this could mark the rebirth of Chicago football, a turning point remembered for decades. If he falters, it will become yet another painful chapter in a saga fans know all too well. But regardless of outcome, one thing is certain. The Bears have captured the spotlight, and for the first time in years, the city's football heartbeat is pounding with anticipation, nervous energy, and the intoxicating thrill of the unknown that makes sports the theater of dreams. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.